Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Higher Self Club podcast. We're taking a little twist in terms of topics compared to last episode. So I really wanted to start this series, of episodes called the Business Diaries. So I basically want these episodes to be like a journal, of me explaining where I'm at in my business and taking you basically through the whole process of my business journey right from the beginning. The reason I want to do this is I feel like you see so many people who are doing so well and have these really successful businesses, and if you're anything like me, you're thinking, how the fuck did they get there? What did they actually do? I need the step-by-step details, please. So I really wanted to share my process with you, the ups, the downs, my mistakes, so hopefully you don't have to make the same ones, and also a lot of the mindset pieces that have really helped me. So I'll probably make these every couple of months or so as things evolve and change, and just share with you my learnings and what worked, what didn't work. So I was thinking for this episode, I'm just going to start from the very beginning about how I started my business, how it came about, and then I'll take you all the way up until where I'm at today in this moment. So it all started back in COVID. I was working in fashion as a designer, doing full-time fashion design, and I just felt out of alignment. I just felt like I needed something more from my career. I wanted to help people in some way. So I looked at what I loved. I love mindset, I love energetics, I loved spirituality, lifestyle design. I really loved empowering people, but I just never really thought that that could be a career or a way that I would make an income. Until one day I saw a girl who I really admired on Instagram, and I saw the way that she was building her business, which was through women's coaching and empowerment coaching. And in that moment, I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I'm meant to do. And it was just like that light bulb moment. And it was like, that's why I find the concept of expanders so powerful. It's like, unless we can see someone else doing something, or unless we can see something, it's hard for our minds to believe it possible for ourselves. So once I saw her and what she was doing, I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I'm meant to do. I also really wanted to start my own business. I knew for a long time before this moment that I wanted to start my own business because I deeply craved freedom. I really didn't like going to the same place every day, to the same office, sitting in the same chair at the same desk, doing the same work to build someone else's empire. It just stifled my energy and my creativity. I just wanted to be able to travel or just work from wherever I wanted, control my schedule. I just deeply felt aligned with that way of life. So I knew that to truly tap into this, I would need to have some kind of business for myself or be a freelancer or something like that. And I also didn't like the financial ceiling that you have in a normal job, how you have your salary and maybe it goes by a little bit each year. I wanted to have the capacity to just make as much money as I wanted. I love that idea of building wealth, and to know that the hard work that I was doing was going into something that I was building for myself felt really appealing to me. And I'm also really in love with this philosophy. I don't think I was as aware of it back then as I am now, but I love this philosophy of life being art, and how can you live life in a way that is creative, and how can I create beauty in all areas of my life? And I really want a business where I can be creative and share my creativity and help other people to be creative, and where I can be in different places every day and go into nature and work from nature and just live this really beautiful life. I want to live a really adventurous life, and I want to experience a lot of different things, and I just felt that having my own business was the vehicle to help me to get there. So I knew that I wanted a business, didn't know what it was going to be until I realized in that moment, okay, I'm going to get into coaching. So back in that moment when I realized that, yep, this is what I'm going to do, I found out who this girl who I'd seen on Instagram, I found out who her business coaches were, and I signed up for their business coaching, which at the time was a lot of money for me. I just moved out of home. I did not have much money behind me, but I think I was just a bit delulu, like, people, that's fine. I just had no concept of managing my finances at that point, which maybe worked in my favor, as maybe I wouldn't have ever signed up for this coaching. But I signed up for this coaching. I didn't even have a business. I had no experience in coaching, and I was surrounded by people who had really successful businesses. And I was just so had no confidence. I'd show up to these coaching calls and just be like a scared little puppy, like, oh, I don't even know what to say. I feel like I have no value to give. I don't even know what questions to ask. But it really brought forward so much that I needed to work on in myself if I was going to be embodied in this work. So it was a really good experience to jump into that coaching when I did, because I was able to set up all the systems in my business, and I clearly knew what I needed to do and where I was going. And that felt so good to have this map clearly laid out to me, even though I felt very out of my depth at the time. And it was interesting. I had an experience back then, whilst I was doing that coaching, where I was really battling with imposter syndrome. I was battling with the fact that I was so far behind and I didn't even have my business yet. I was like, gosh, this is hard. Like, I have a long way to go. And there was this one girl in the coaching cohort that I really looked up to. I was like, wow, I really want a business like hers. She's pretty much the same age as me, and I'm far behind. And then she showed up to this call and she was wearing a top that I had designed for one of the brands that I work for. And I was like, oh, that's actually a really nice reminder from the universe to not compare your chapter 1 with someone else's chapter 30. Like, I'd already had this whole career, and she had been doing this for a much longer time than me. And that was just a really funny physical representation to say, hey, she's wearing something that I designed. So that was really cool. And that's actually happened quite a few times. You know, it happened the other day. There's another coach online that I really admire, and she was wearing a dress that I designed. And it's like this little sign from the universe to be like, hey, girl, just trust the process, trust where you're at. Everything's happening in divine timing. So that's learning 1 that I want to share with you today, is stay in your own lane. Comparison is never helpful, ever, especially in your business. It will stifle you really, really quickly, especially in the starting stages of your business. And just remember that everyone started somewhere. Everyone started somewhere. Okay, so just put your horse blinders on and just focus on what you're doing. So going back to that business coaching, I did it even though I didn't really feel ready. Set up all these systems, knew how to set up landing pages, and was shown a really beautiful way of doing business that is sustainable, where you have multiple breaks throughout the year so you're not burning out. And I'm actually still in that same alumni program now. I just re-signed up to that coaching to be in the alumni, to be in the energy of these coaches. They are so amazing. So the next learning I want to share with you is to seek help and to not do this alone. It can be a really lonely journey, especially if you were like me and you grew up around mostly people just going into like the 9 to 5, going to university, getting the job, going into corporate type of pathway. It can be really difficult when you don't see other people around you starting their own businesses and creating something like this. So even if you just try to surround yourself with other people who are building businesses, if you're not wanting to invest in a coach or in business coaching or something like that, more so just surrounding yourself with other people that are maybe a bit more entrepreneurial or doing something similar. I can't even explain how powerful this is. They do say that you are the combination of the 5 people you spend the most time with, and it's so true. So you might be thinking, oh, none of my friends are building businesses. Like, how am I supposed to find these people? And that is the beauty of social media. There are so many Facebook groups, for example, if you just type in like business startups or something like that, just doing some research, you'll be able to find different business groups where then you can go on and just see who's posting. There's a really good women's one, Like-Minded Bitches Drinking Wine on Facebook. That's a really good one. And you can just go and start messaging people and making connections that way, getting a little bit uncomfortable and just asking people about what they're building and just showing interest in what other people are doing. And then seeing if there's a way you can help create value for those people as well is how you're going to create some really beautiful connections. And also just following people on Instagram who are doing cool shit is really good, again, to show your mind that it's possible and to be exposing yourself to that daily and just watching other people building cool things and doing cool things. If you're very good at not playing the comparison game, that's an important piece, but just being able to admire other people and let yourself see that that is a possibility for you too. So yeah, that is learning too. Seek help, don't do it alone, connect with other people, and it's going to make this whole process a lot less lonely and will just help you to move faster. It would be even really cool if you could like find a couple of people who are at the same stage as you in your business journey and meet once a week on Zoom and just share one thing that you want to be held accountable for that week, for example. Could be really, really powerful. So going back to my little timeline. So whilst I was doing this business program, I was still working full time and I was feeling so unaligned and I just wanted something of my own so badly. So I signed up for a coaching course to learn some different modalities and to familiarize myself with the coaching world. I was so new to this world and I'm like, okay, I really want some guidance. I want to be really freaking good at what I do. If I were to go back and give myself some advice at this point, I would say, don't sign up for another course. Just start coaching. Just start doing the thing, start putting it into action. More learning is literally useless unless you're actually doing something with it. And looking back, the amount of time I spent studying and learning and doing this course and that course and that course, fuck, it actually like hurts my soul because I could have been learning so much more if I just did the thing. And it comes down to fear. It was definitely because I was too scared to actually do the thing. But by learning, I was getting this dopamine hit and feeling like I was progressing, but really there's no point learning unless you're putting it into action. So definitely just start taking action as soon as you can. So what I did do at that point though, I started posting on Instagram, I started talking about meditation and things like that. And I did my meditation training course and then my breathwork facilitator course too. So I was at least starting to embody my work through, creating a meditation practice by doing all the deep breathwork stuff and doing my own learning on myself, which was definitely important. At this point, my contract with the job I was working at ended. And at that point I was like, I'm going to pursue this business. Like, I'm not going to look for anything else. I've got this. I am ready. And looking back, I'm like, you fucking idiot. You're an idiot. No, I wouldn't say that, but a little bit. I do feel that way a little bit because looking back, I was making no money. I'd never made $1 in this business. I wasn't working with any clients. I hadn't practiced my skills or holding space or helping people through transformation. So of course I ran out of money and I had to go back and get another job in design. So this time it was for a really great brand. The office was near my house. The travel time was like less than 10 minutes and they really care about their employees. That was really nice. They were really, really lovely to work for. But I definitely had this feeling of defeat. I was like, wow, I'm back here again. I felt like I'd done all this work, which really I hadn't. I'd done a lot of learning and I just felt like I was back where I started. So I was like, fuck, this sucks. I'm working full-time in fashion again. I was really good at what I did. I was promoted to manager of the design team. So I was working and then on weeknights and on the weekends, I was just trying to work on my business to try and get things going. And finally, I began doing what I should have started a long time before that, which was coaching people for free and building my skills and building my confidence and also posting on Instagram more to begin building an audience. So Really, I would say this is when I started really taking my first step in business, which was really building the skill of coaching and really putting into practice becoming really good at what I was doing by coaching as much as I could. So at this point I was like, okay, I don't have much time. Like, I'm working full time. I only have a couple of hours after work, a couple of hours, like some time on the weekend between life admin. I need to make sure that the work that I'm doing is actually making a difference, is actually moving the needle forward. So I knew that this was mainly just coaching because I knew if I didn't have the confidence, I wasn't going to be able to sell my services. And if I didn't have confidence in myself, then how are my clients going to have confidence in me? So I'm like, I need to spend all the time I can just really honing this skill. It seems so obvious, but up until this point, I was really afraid. Even though I was coaching people for free, I had all these thoughts of, what if they don't have a good experience? I know it's for free, but they're giving their time to me. And I was just really, really afraid of not being good at it, I guess. So I just started doing it. And then I also started teaching breath work in person, which was a big one too. This was a really good confidence builder because breath work is such a huge part of my work. So teaching it multiple times a week with all sorts of different people and becoming confident in holding space for groups of people and creating an experience for people as well, it helped me to really step into myself and into my power as a guide and embodying this energy of a leader. So lesson number 3 I want to share with you is, what are the action items that are actually going to move the needle forward for you? So especially in the early days where you're probably still working full time and you don't have that much time to focus on your new business or energy, especially. I think energy, it's not just about time, it's about when you're working full time and you only have a little bit of spare time outside of work. You still have to look after yourself. You're trying to go to the gym, you're trying to eat well, trying to sleep enough, and then you're trying to start this whole business. Like, it's hard. And if you feel like it's really hard, just know that that's normal. Because I was always thinking, you see all these people online, they make it look so easy. You've got this whole soft girl era going on where it's all about, you've got to step into your feminine and just relax and attract it all to you. It's not like that in the early stages of business. I don't believe that it is possible, honestly, for you to be working full time and then be like, la-di-da, I'm going to start this business and it's going to be really easy. Like, I don't know. If you find out someone who knows how to do it this way, then please let me know. But if you're struggling at this stage, it's okay. And what is helpful and to help with the overwhelm is to just list out 5 things that you need to get done that week. Or maybe 3 things you need to get done that week, and prioritize them, and then just take it one step at a time and just focus on one step at a time. And just focus on the things that move the needle forward. You don't need your logo made. You don't need a website. Honestly, just focus on what your product or service is. Make it really fucking good. And then sell it to people or give it away for free and just get feedback. And that's going to be the most important thing that you can do in the start of your business. So you're just going to start by figuring out, what is your niche or your target market? What is their pain? What is your solution to their pain? Make that solution really fucking good, and then connect your target customer with the solution. To put it simply, really, at the start of the business, that's the most important thing that you could do. And I've realized that business really is simple, but it's very easy to overcomplicate the shit out of it, which I was very good at doing. So to summarize the 3 learnings we've gone over so far is, number 1, don't compare yourself to others. Stay in your own lane. Number 2, find your people. Surround yourself with people who are going to support you in your journey. And number 3, spend your time on needle moving tasks only. No fluff. So once I started doing the stuff that I really needed to do to actually have a proper business, I began building my confidence. So my confidence was building, but I was still so frustrated with the little time and energy I had to pour into my business. It was just eating away at me. And I was walking on the beach one day and I called my mum and she said to me, Shay, just quit. Go in there and quit. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, if mum was telling me to do it, you know, sometimes you just want that permission from your mum. I was like, this is crazy, because I wasn't making any money in my business yet. But I was like, I just have to. Like, maybe I'll fail again, and maybe I'll have to go back to full-time work again. But I was like, I just have to do it. So I went in and I quit, and I did it. And I went a couple of months and I managed to get by okay. I was teaching breath work, so I was making a little bit of money there. And then that company that I quit, they reached out and asked if I wanted to do freelance. And I still loved designing, so this meant that I could still do that and have that in my life still, but make some kind of income. And I could also travel if I wanted to, because I didn't need to be in the office to do this. Because I knew the systems so well in that business, I could also jump in and, you know, when the team was under extra stress, I could just jump in and help. So this was really cool. I had never thought that this would be a possibility, and it really helped me to see sometimes you just need to jump and the net will appear. Just trusting that the universe will show up for you. And even though this was really scary, I was very lucky that this was how it turned out for me, because having some financial stability is so important, because it takes that desperate, icky energy away from your business when you're trying to sell or trying to promote your business out of a state of desperation, because you're like, fuck, I need to make ends meet, like I need to pay my rent. People can feel that, and it's just not the right energy you want to be bringing to your business. So when you're in your early stages of starting your business, there are a few ways you could get around this. You could either do what I did at the start and just start your business around your full-time job. And if you approach it differently to me by only focusing on those needle moving tasks and also just being patient with yourself, then this can be a really great option. The second thing you could do is get something called a bridge job. So this is getting some kind of part-time job that makes you just enough to cover your living expenses. This could be like working in your local cafe, doing admin for something. It could be anything. Often this can feel like a little bit of a hit to the ego, because if you've built this career and then you're quitting, some people really struggle with that. But that's a great practice to just put your ego aside. Like, this is you building your business. It doesn't matter how it doesn't matter how you're making the money. I'm not doing anything illegal, but you know what I mean? Just doing what you need to do to start your business. So this can be a really great option because it opens up space for you. So you might not be saving any money, but you're just getting your bills paid, and then you have this extra space, maybe a couple of days a week, to really focus on your business. Third option is to quit, burn the bridges, and go all in. So this is a scary one. For some people it works really well, because you just get a fire under your ass and you're just like, let's fucking go, and you just make shit happen. This can be really stressful on the nervous system, which doesn't serve everybody. So you just have to be very self-aware on if this is going to be a good option for you or not. For me at the moment, I teach breathwork and I do freelance fashion design, so that ties me over, as my business is still in her baby stages, where I'm really nurturing the seeds and watching them sprout. So I found myself in a really beautiful position, but definitely having financial stress in the business building stages isn't ideal. So if you can find your way around that is better, I would say. So that brings me through to where I'm at the moment. Talking about needle moving activities, 6 months ago, I was trying to work, doing like breath work and freelance design. I was trying to build the first iteration of my 12-week program. So my first iteration of the expansion project is 12 modules of content. It's mostly these beautiful PDF lessons that I've put together with really beautiful imagery. I've got breathwork recordings. So for a first iteration, it's quite in depth. So I was focusing on creating that and also creating content to promote myself and grow my audience. And it just wasn't working. There was just too much going on. My content wasn't landing because I was trying to create content from a place of shit, I got to create content, rather than creating content from my heart that was really going to connect to people. I was falling behind in the program building. So I was like, okay, this isn't working. It's too much. So I stopped creating content. I took a step back from my Instagram and I really focused solely on my program. I also signed on 5 beta clients to start going through my program as I was building it. So it made sense for me to make sure that the program, my product that I was creating, was as good as it could possibly be before going and then and building my audience. Some people would say it's better to do the opposite way around. You should have your audience first and then focus on bringing people into whatever, or then monetizing your audience basically. But for me, I'm just creating this experience that I'm just pouring my heart and soul into, and just intuitively I'm like, okay, I really want to work on this to then have these beta clients go through, get feedback on the program, and then I'll start talking about it on Instagram. So that is what I did. I just finished the beta round of the expansion project. So the expansion project, if you haven't heard about it before, is my 12-week program. So this is my signature program. This is the core offering of my business. It's the only offering I have at the moment. I'm not offering anything else other than this 12-week experience that I am pouring my heart and soul into making a very special and transformative experience for every woman that goes through. So this is something that I'm going to continue to evolve and iterate, I believe, for many years to come. So at the moment, that is basically the entirety of my business, is this program. And then of course I have like my podcast, my YouTube channel, and my social media channels that feed in. But my main paid offering, or my only paid offering, is the expansion project. So I see a lot of different coaches who create a lot of different offerings. They get inspired and create something new, and I can see the temptation to do that. I'm always coming up with new ideas. I'm like, should I do something that's just breathwork focused, or should I start teaching my own breathwork classes online? But at the moment, I really feel like just creating this magical 12-week experience and putting all of my focus into that is what I need to be doing. And it's really cool just knowing how it's going to evolve. Even after just one round, I'm already like, okay, I know what I need to change and what I need to do to make it even better. And as I evolve and change, and the things that I learn, it will directly feed into the program. So it's just an extension of myself and my own journey and the things that have allowed me to evolve. And it just feels so nourishing because it doesn't feel like work. I feel like it gives me energy. It doesn't drain my energy. I could just work all day because it just lights me up so much. I'm like, this stuff is so powerful. Can't believe I get to share this. It was really cool. I had these women go through, and seeing them transform before my eyes, I was like, wow, this is so cool. I had one woman who, she quit her job and she packed up and she moved overseas and started her own freelance business. I had another woman who started creating her own content online and has started to build her own business too. This isn't a business program, by the way, but I think naturally this can happen with what I'm teaching inside the expansion project. It's been very, very, very cool. So now I'm in the process of reviewing how that first round went and making any adjustments that I notice, and I'm going to improve it again before the next round, which will begin in November. So I've started creating content again. So now that I've had that first iteration of the program created, I'll make some adjustments, and now I have more space to create content and to build my audience. So I've been loving doing that since going to Bali and just taking the foot off the pedal and softening and creating from that space. It feels so much more nourishing, and creating content doesn't feel like such a slog. It just feels like I feel lucky that I get to create and put my work out into the world. It feels different viewing it that way. I'm not viewing it like, oh, shit, I've got to do this for my business and it's something that I have to do. It's something that I get to do. And I'm really just allowing myself to post what I'm inspired by. So it feels really lovely to create content in that way. So my focus is just being able to grow my audience and connect with the right people who need the expansion project in their life. So that is where I'm at. I guess there's one more lesson in there based on all of that, and that will be the bonus little lesson number 4, is just start now, take messy action. Nothing that I have done has been squeaky clean. It's all just been messy, just throwing spaghetti at the wall, see what sticks, and that's the fastest way to learn. I definitely let fear hold me back from just doing things. I'd like overthink, am I doing this the right way? Is this what I should be doing? Just start and you'll figure it out along the way. And yeah, it might be scary at times, but don't take 4 fucking years to do it like I did. Just start. So I hope that this kind of episode was interesting to you. I feel like this podcast, there's so many different things that go on. I hope it's not too random, but I really do want to create these episodes from my heart and what is alive for me right now. So as much as these episodes are for you, they are also for me too. Someone I've been loving at the moment, just indulging in all of his content, is Rick Rubin. He has this amazing book called The Creative Act, A Way of Being. And I listened to it on Spotify, but now it's gone off Australia's Spotify for some reason. But if you can get your hands on a copy or an audiobook somehow, oh my gosh, highly recommend. And one of his big philosophies is create for yourself, and then naturally it will help the people who receive that rather than trying to create for people. So I'm really taking on that philosophy and I'm really creating for myself and I guess my past self as well and what would have really helped me. So I hope that you got something out of this and I'm so grateful if you listened to this whole episode. I'm very grateful for you and I love you and I hope you have a beautiful week. And if you have any questions or if there's any topics that you'd like to hear about or anything that you would like me to speak on, please let me know. I would love to hear from you. So much love and I'll speak to you on the next episode. Mwah! Bye.